Palestinians went out in mourning, expressing their deep grief over the demise of the late Amir, His Highness Sheikh Sabah al-Ahmed al-Jabr Sabah, the leader of diplomacy and humanity.
Palestinians asserted that the Arab and Muslim nations lost a wise leader who was dedicated to serving his people and defending Arab and Islamic causes. Our correspondent in Gaza, Yumna Sayed, brings us more.
All of the Palestinian territories turned black. Sadness and grief has pervaded all Palestinian cities and villages. The flags were turned down and mourning was announced. The Palestinians went out in mourning stands expressing their deep grief with the death of the late Amir of Kuwait, Sheikh Sabah al-Ahmed al-Jabr Sabah. May God have mercy on his soul, the leader of diplomacy and humanity.
باسم شعبنا الفلسطيني وباسم إخواني في المجلس التشريعي.
In the name of the Palestinian people, and in the name of my brothers in the Legislative Council, and in the name of the orphans, the poor, the prisoners, and the wounded, we offer this deep condolence that stems from our hearts to the late Amir, who stood by the Palestinian people humanly, politically, and socially.
لنا كفلسطينيين يعني يمثل.
For us as Palestinians, it represents a great loss. Gaza, Palestine, Jerusalem testify to the tender of the Amir of Kuwait. The destroyed homes in Gaza testify and tell about the Amir of Kuwait. We all mourn Amir of Kuwait, but this is the will of God, and despite his leaving, his actions and imprints remain.
The late Amir of Kuwait's support for the Palestinian cause in international political forums, in addition to his continuous support for the Palestinian people on all humanitarian, educational, relief and health levels, drives the Palestinians to live up to the sincere loyalty to the late Amir Sheikh Sabah al-Ahmed al-Jabr Sabah, who rebuilt most of the Gaza Strip and defended all sanctities and Al-Aqsa Mosque. Today, widowed women and orphaned children feel that they have lost a precious and dear one, as if they are losing their fathers and husbands on this day.
Today, Palestine and the whole world will miss him. Poor, needy, orphans, widows, and bereaved. He was the hand that wiped foreheads of these poor people over these long years.
Palestinian newspapers and various local media have set aside spaces to talk about the late Amir, his biography, and his positions in support of the Palestinian cause in various international forums, and his permanent defense of the truth. Palestine lost with the death of the Emir of Kuwait a leader who always stood by it, but rather made it his most important priority in his political and humanitarian agenda. You shall remain present in all our memories as long as we live.
Thousands of Palestinians are crying the Prince of Humanity. No words can describe the amount of sorrow for losing a great supporter and a humanitarian leader for the Palestinian cause in every forum. We ask the Almighty to rest his soul in peace. For KTV2, this is Yumna Sayed, Gaza, Palestine.